Hey everybody, welcome back to Ready Steady Play!
Oh!
Look, we've got Tainted Grail. Remember we played this in its prototype form such a long time ago. But
they have the real McCoy now.
You know what's funny? I said that we played it such a long time ago. It wasn't actually that long ago.
Probably a year.
Yeah, it was about a year, which for Kickstarter, like, especially a Kickstarter of this size, is actually, like, fine.
It's actually quite quick.
That's really quick, yeah. So for those of you that don't know what this is, it is a adventure, story, narrative, adventure, combat game in the world of Avalon, which is a sort of gothic, dark gothic take on Camelot and the Arthurian legend, yeah, except this is like, now I know the Arthurian legend fairly well, but not that well. But Avalon is a mystical island that Merlin comes from, I think. But the point is...
Isn't it meant to be off the coast of Cornwall?
The point is in this, something called the Red Death has killed everybody in the realm of men, and so everyone's fled to the mythical island of Avalon a long time ago. But the island is full of mystical and deadly dangers that are sort of mutating people and corrupting them and turning them into fearsome things. Meanwhile, also the Red Death is still there, and they're trying to stop that from plaguing the whole island.
It's not cool.
And so the land is protected by these mythical statues called menhirs, which are what allow the regular people to live on the island. But the menhirs, which are powered by ancient magics, are now losing their power, and the corruption is creeping into the towns. Suddenly a box appeared. So, this is the menhir anyway, and this is the ancient statue that's protecting us from the darkness, and once the power of the menhir dies, then we're all going to become corrupted.
We're all doomed!
Well, I mean, that depends on how you define doomed. We'll become corrupted evil monstrosities, but we'll be...
Some people's bag.
Not dead. Yeah, some people are already like that anyway. So, yeah, so if that setting tells you anything, it tells you that this is going to be dark and...
Well, that's quite scary for a thing that provides protection.
Yeah, it's all like sort of bone and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is a lot more solid than the resin counterparts we received in the prototype.
With arms falling off.
But, and the menhirs have different sculpts now, so, which is pretty cool. But anyway, what we've got is also the Monsters of Avalon box, which is all just miniatures to represent cards that come in this box. So put it away, but no, don't! No peeking!
No peeking!
We're keeping the monster secret. But Michael keeps trying to peek. Michael wants to peek at everything. I'm like, no spoilers.
Oh, just let me peek.
Surprises are fun.
They are fun. I am a total... Yeah, contradiction. I love surprises. I think they're totally ace. But I want to know! don't know. So we didn't have time to put together rules and setup, so what we're actually going to do is we're going to do the open and play, which is basically a tutorial that will guide you through combat and how combat works and everything else in the game as well. So if you guys want to learn the rules of Tainted Grail without all of the spoilers, then stick around for the next few episodes. Yeah.
But if you want to come on this adventure with us, which will be full of spoilers, then skip these 2 episodes and come on that. But if you want to know how everything works, then feel free to just crack on. Which is what we're going to do. Join in, exactly right. In this adventure, Bayor is going to appear in Kaunacht, the Farmhold Kaunacht, which is the first location in the game, and I think he's just going to go and have some combat and diplomacy, and then that'll be the end of it. Without further ado, let's get into the Tainted Grail. How do we survive? So we are.
How do we do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have played the prototype, but of course, there will be differences that we will need to get our heads around. Anyway, here's Bayor. We probably won't play him in the actual game, but. He looks a bit sad, doesn't he? What happened to our lighting adjustment card? There we go.
There we go.
Weirdly better, isn't it?
That's so funny.
Oh, there we go. The camera's auto-balancing for this really white gaming mat, which I probably shouldn't be using for this. It might be better once there are cards out on it. So to get started, we have to set up the game. Now, we've got out all of the cards that we think you'll need for this tutorial. In fact, I don't think you need half the cards we've got out here. But
just wanted to cover all bases, didn't we?
And if we're missing anything, or if there's anything we don't cover here, we'll explain it in the actual game. This is going to be more about execution rather than setup. But what I do know is that these are all the different locations you can visit in the game. These are the land cards, and these will be coming out based on where you go. You'll probably not see this entire deck over the course of a single play. You've got a set of event cards here. And these events are essentially the different special events that occur at different chapters in the story. So
there's quite a few.
There's quite a few. I see why these are... Oops, I seem to have messed up the order of these somehow.
Would you like me to admin?
No, that's okay. Okay, do it later. So 15 chapters. 15 chapters in the core game here. So I've seen a lot of people get to about chapter 8 and die. So there's plenty of opportunity for replayability. But we won't be using any of these things in this Learn to Play. We will just be learning how to execute combat and things like that. So with this in mind, the very first thing you're instructed to do is get out Bayor and a men here, and one of these tokens here.
Flippy things.
Yeah, the coins you can flip, and also timers on them as well.
Yeah, very versatile.
In the prototype, the skull was actually raised so that you could spin them.
Yeah,
these aren't really as spinny. I think they decided that was maybe not the best use of the coins.
I know we had epic fails in trying to flip these, didn't we?
You did.
But you didn't even attempt.
Yeah, well, that's because I can. Yeah, we gave
Number one.
And now we're going to set up Bayor. So you've got setup on one side, and then your character ability on the other side, as well as your character negative trait. So he's a local smith, and he starts with 2 aggression, 1 courage, 1 practicality, and 1 caution.
So he's very much on the left-hand side of the map.
He also starts with 3 food and a wealth. And here's a fun fact. A purple cube is worth 3 red cubes.
Oh, really? I did not know this.
Yep.
So he starts with 3 food and a wealth.
Yep. And now that we've done that, we can flip him over and put him in here. Boop. Also, there's a little symbol down here, and that's just telling you that he starts on the blue player board. But different characters will slot in here as you receive more.
It's interesting, because it looks to me very purpley blue. Very icy.
Not at all like a blacksmith.
No.
So then we grab this guy.
It's the total opposite.
And it starts up here. So Bayor starts with lots and lots of hit points, which is good.
That is good.
And then he's going to get 6 energy and 0 terror. We're going to start with our open and play deck here. And what this does is it actually gives you a combat deck for Bayor and a diplomacy deck for Bayor. And this is his starting deck, but these cards, you will actually need them to play the full game as well. So you will have to go in here and get these cards out if you're going to be playing the full game. And then we've got some encounters, but these are scripted, so I'll just put those to one side for now.
I'm excited.
Oh, and now this seems to have become a saved encounters card, which we probably need for the saved mechanics. So we've got these encounter cards here. Now we've set up 4 encounter decks over there, and the 4 different encounter decks. There's green, which is sort of like the animals of the wild, and that could be a fearsome bear or a rabbit, but we'll probably need to hunt those for food. The grey deck is brigands and rebels, and generally just sort of men or women who are, or anyone for that matter. They are people who have gone angry, you know, whether from poverty or insanity or the weird, but they exist in there and they are dangerous, and typically killing them gets us items and things like that.
Sounds like the London Tube Network.
Yeah, exactly. It's the London Underground deck. So then we've got the purple deck, which is sort of mythological, strange and spiritual things that will come out, and we will have encounters with them of some meaningfulness.
I don't like this one. This looks scary.
It's the scariest one. And the blue deck is tends to be sort of diplomatic encounters and stuff you have to get through with talking and all that kind of stuff.
I'm very good at talking to people.
They're basically non-combat encounters.
I will do them.
Yeah, you will wind up in prison. So all of the cards in these decks are divided into different difficulty levels, and you'll be instructed to put out more of them as you go through the chapters of increasing difficulty. But for now, Michael, just put this on top of the grey deck.
It makes like a funny little like crystal almost in the middle.
It sure does. There's the green one. Here's a purple one. And a blue one. Boop.
boop, boop, boop.
And so these are just for the open and play that we're setting these up in this way.
Yeah.
The decks really only contain a single card for the purpose of this tutorial. I just thought we'd put them on the full deck for funsies. Right, now we are going to start in the Kaunacht Farmhold. So, here is your land card, typical land card, and what you've got up here is the reference to the chapter that pertains to this area in the exploration journal. So up here we've got the big exploration journal with all the stories and details and things of what's going on in it.
Ooh, stories. Can I have
stories? No. No peeking! Michael would just sit and read it.
Like, ooh,
He's
novel.
like, this is less scary. So this is, if we want to find out more about Kaunacht Farmhold through exploration, we'll go to 101 in the exploration journal. Then we've got the name of the place here. Sometimes you'll get other numbers up here when these lands change, but that will become pertinent later on. Not in this tutorial. Then we've got the surrounding lands around the outside, and so long as there's an arrow pointing in that direction, then your character can travel in that direction. Characters can only move off these cards orthogonally, so not diagonally. So if there's not an arrow here, or if you travel onto a card without an arrow going down, then you can't come back. Having said that, you'll always be able to see the 4 cards surrounding this card as long as there's an active menhir around. If there isn't an active menhir, then you won't reveal the cards and you can't travel. So, then in the Kaunacht Farmhold we have these 4 icons here. This icon is the sort of sleepy icon, which means that you'll have dreams when you end your turn in Kaunacht. This here means there is a settlement here and that it's friendly. And this here means that there is a menhir. Then we've got a special action that's specific to Kaunacht. In this case you can spend an energy to gain a rep once per day. So you're doing chores for the townsfolk. And then down here just a little bleak bit of flavor text that says, its history is as vast as its graveyard, its future as empty as its houses.
Oh no. That sounds depressing.
It is depressing. Let's go ahead and put Kaunacht Farmhold out there. So now what we're going to do is, because Kaunacht comes with a menhir, we're going to take the menhir miniature, put it in Kaunacht, and grab one of these little dials here. We're going to stick it to 8. And we're going to put it into the base of the menhir. So for this tutorial purpose, we have 8 days of time in this area.
And do we stick it on the coin side or on the skull side?
That is entirely irrelevant.
Okay. So I like to be good. So and skulls are scary. So let's have the cup. Let us choose wisely. Like that, or the 8 stick out?
I would put the 8 at the bottom so that it's sort of facing us, and that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. So there's 8 days left until this menhir goes dark, and we all start to die and go crazy.
What's your
There's got to be a
excuse?
sensible way for this. I have to teach you games.
Touché. Friendship going.
Beor will start here in Kaunacht Farm, and we can put out the land so you can see from there, which means any that the menhir will light up any around the Kaunacht Farmhold, but because we can't move into the diagonals, we won't put them out yet. So we're going to take location 102, the Hunter's Grove.
So that goes north.
That goes north of the menhir, doesn't it? We can put the menhir up here for now because that's going to be empty for the moment.
Okay.
We just got to remember that that's Kaunacht Farmhold's menhir.
Yep.
We've got the Warrior's Fair, and that's 103, so that's going over here.
Okay. Ah! Looks like there's some activity there.
The Charred Conclave,
Oh.
and this one's going to go out here.
Looks like something's on fire.
And this has a lightning effect, so when someone walks in here, they'll draw a grey encounter card when they enter this location. So this is basically full of bad people. And lastly, we'll put out the Forlorn Swords. So giant swords that have been...
Oh wow, they're huge.
I admire your commitment to the fact that we haven't seen all of this before.
Having for effect.
I appreciate it. I'm sure the people do too. Actually, none of these cards have changed from the prototype version we played. So now that we've got our decks set up here, we've got our characters set up, we've got our board set up, and all of our encounter decks set up, we're actually ready to begin the game.
Yeah.
There is...
Let's crook some toads.
Crook some toads. And now I'm going to read you a little bit of story.
Oh, I love story.
So, it's dawn, and Bayor is about to start his journey.
No.
Bayor's been up all night drinking. Perform your first start of the day routine. So we're going to reference our Order of the Day card here. And we're going... This day is basically a turn in the game. You'll do a sort of a sequence set of checks at the start of the day. During the day, everyone will... This is where most of the game will take place. We'll spend our energy to do things, and we can do it in pretty much any order. The rulebook actually says, take turns so that everyone gets to do something in a reasonable sort of amount of time, so there's not too much downtime for people. But actually, you can do... One player could do their entire energy spend and then go to other players. It's really up to you guys to decide, as you're cooperating, the best and most strategic way for you to spend your energy. Mm-hmm. Then at the end of the day, you have to pay food, and you'll have a dream and things like that. You'll get some energy back based on how much you spent and the condition of your character. And then we'll go back to the start of the next day, and that's when the menhirs tick down or just vanish and leave us to go crazy in the dark. But
okay, bye. Run away.
The first thing we're going to do is take our menhir down, because we're doing start of the day for day one.
But it goes down one already.
Yeah, it goes down 7.
This sucks.
We would also now adjust any tokens that were being used to track the timing of things.
Oh, I think I went the wrong way.
You went up to 9?
Yeah.
This game's going to be easy if you do that.
No, I went down to 1.
Oh, that's also bad.
That's also super hard.
Right, there are only 8 sides. There are only 8 sides. Yeah.
So let me turn it the right way to 7. 1 and 7 look similar.
And now... Ooh, so now we would reveal an event card from the event deck, which we will have set up prior to the start of the game. But we have a special event for this tutorial.
Ooh.
The event is Quest. Speak with Kaunakt's blacksmith, Earthfear. Hint, to meet Earthfear, you have to explore the Kaunakt farmhold location. Then we would move any guardians, but there are no guardians.
Let me guess. Are we going to explore?
Part 2, first exploration.
Yeah.
We are now going to explore Kaunakt. So, so we've now completed the start of the day, and we're now going into during the day, and we're going to start spending our energy in order to do things. And that means at the start of the day, we can perform actions, and each action in Tainted Grail's got a cost. And all of these costs are listed here on the action overview player sheet. So you've got explore, which means exploring the locations you're in to uncover things. This might lead you to the exploration journal, or it might just be something on the back of the card for you to resolve. You've got travel, which means travel to adjacent locations. You've got a location action, which means if there's any special actions printed on the bottom of the cards here, you can perform those actions. You'll always know when there is an action present somewhere, because it will have this green energy icon and a number, which is the cost in energy points. We've got Inspect a Menhir, which again is a card printed on the back, text printed on the back of the cards with the Menhir symbol, which is this purple symbol here. And also, it's also here on this card. And Inspecting Menhir will tell us the amount of resources we need to use in order to
reignite it.
Exactly, and to restore days and buy more time. What we're really looking for as we adventure across Avalon is more Menhirs to light up so we can uncover more lands. But they're very expensive to activate. And then we've got character, secret, and item actions. So you might have some items as indicated over here in our card holder. Mm-hmm. You might have some secrets, which we've wrapped up in that envelope over there, so we can't see the secrets.
You wouldn't let me see them.
Being kept secrets, never tell. So, and then you have got a special character action as well that you can do. Yeah, Bayor's is really expensive, but he can craft items in the thing. Ooh,
that's good. In settlements,
there are three random craftable items. Okay, and the final action you can do is pass, which is basically drop out of the round. You won't do anything else this round. You can't reactivate,
but you keep your action. Oh no, you go back up to the top, don't you?
Well, your energy is restored during the night at the end of the day, but based on how much you've spent. And I mean, the key consideration here is this exhausted part at the bottom of our energy track. Yeah. So if we go down into exhausted, then we'll receive less than full when we rest at the end of the day. Yeah. Furthermore, if we don't have any food to eat, then we will also receive less energy for the next day. So if we end on 2, then we'll receive full energy back. Furthermore, if we go down to 0, and we can't eat, then we'll actually start losing hit points, which will start reducing our maximum levels. So that's bad news. We don't want that to happen. So these are your 3 primary health tracks. You've got your energy here, which are the action points you spend to do things during the day. In the middle here, you've got health, and obviously when you reach 0 health, you're now dying. That's really bad. But what's worse is that you're always going insane. Not going insane, sorry. You're always scared, which is bad. And you can barely you're always exhausted, so you can't do anything, which is also really bad. What we're going to do for our first during the day thing is flip over that card and see if we can find Urfrir, which we'll do in part 2 of this tutorial tomorrow on Ready Steady
Oh
Play.
man, I was on the cusp of like pulling it and reading it.
Yep. Well, we've got plenty. All of the exciting things will happen tomorrow.
Sure.
So I hope that you guys will come back and do something exciting with us tomorrow.
Like you come
and
back.
That you're excited to come on this Tainted Grail journey with us. We're very excited. We're very excited about this game, aren't we?
Yeah, totally. 100%. Like,
I was getting well into the story and
Nervous
the
fidgety.
prototype, and then we kept running out of places to go.
Yeah, it was
We kept like finding chapters in the exploration journal that was like, this hasn't been written yet.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and we're like, wah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that this will prove just as engaging as the prototype, and we will find out. And
yeah, we'll continue this mini adventure tomorrow.
brilliant. See you there.
See ya.